Go ahead. Oh, yeah, you get to start.
We're Cindy and Ben, and we are just starting this YouTube channel because we bought a boat, we're fixing a boat, and we are going on adventures, and we're chasing wind and wonder, and we're inviting you along.
And today we thought we would just start with talking about our past year and all of those things, kind of giving a recap of how we got to where we're at. So about a year ago, we decided, I guess it was just over a year ago, we decided we were going to buy a sailboat. And it was kind of a scary thing because we'd never bought a sailboat before. And a lot of fun. And so it was interesting how it kind of happened. It happened so organically. I just happened to run into somebody who was wearing a jacket that said Vernon Yacht Club, which was the yacht club, our local yacht club. And we just started chatting. And I mentioned, oh, yeah, we were looking at getting into it and buying a boat and a sailboat, and started chatting. And they had a 27-foot 1974 Catalina. And I was like, that's the exact boat we really wanted to buy. And they're like, oh, well, they were thinking of selling, which was really kind of fun. They hadn't listed it yet. So we just ended up talking and looking at the boat, and we ended up buying that one, which was really cool.
I really liked it because it had a nice galley in it, plus the table. So it was kind of two things really, because we wanted to race and we wanted to cruise on the lake with it. So it was a good fit. But we really had no idea what we were doing when we bought that boat, did we?
No idea what we were doing when we bought the boat.
I think that's a big learning curve of what we've been in the last year.
Yeah, is just figuring out all the things about a boat.
It really had no components, no parts to it that you could. Well, the racing parts that
it could sail. It just wasn't really set up to race. We found out as soon as we got it.
Yeah.
And then our friends who raced came and looked at it and were like, oh,
where's that part? And where's that part? And what are you going to do with this? And how are you going to put up a spinnaker? Oh, yeah. Anyway, so I'm sure we'll talk more about that yet. But this really, really was a dream renewed, a dream restored. And I think that was something that we didn't expect happening. Even though we had been kind of shopping for this boat and we'd been on the yacht club, we'd become yacht club members and on the list, thinking it's somewhere in the future, because this was starting to well up in us to say this is what we want in our life. And it's kind of been really part of Ben's life for a long time.
Yeah, I grew up sailing. My dad had a sailboat. We had a 25-foot CNC out on the ocean, sailed through the San Juan Islands. I absolutely loved sailing out there. It was just absolutely amazing. And one of my dreams growing up was just to sail. Me and one of my best friends, we talked about sailing around the world. Yes, your brother. Talked about sailing around the world. And so it was just a huge dream growing up in my life, and just thinking that's what I was going to be doing. But then, we grew up, got older, life took some different...
Got landlocked, had kids.
Yep, got landlocked, ended up in Manitoba for many years, not near any waters to really sail on. And I thought that dream was basically gone. I gave up that dream of being able to sail. So it was amazing when we came back to the Okanagan, how this slowly just came back as a possibility for us.
Yeah, I got invited by a coworker to join a racing crew that she was just joining as a newbie, as a backup. And I was like, put me on the list, sign me up. Because it's kind of weird actually that I wanted to do that, because when we were dating and we would go sailing, I would fall asleep because I was actually seasick. And so the first time I went out racing with Pamela on her boat, I didn't tell anyone that I was really actually quite nervous about throwing up. But I didn't. I guess lakes are different, or maybe I outgrew it. I don't know. I still wonder if I'd sail on the ocean. When we sail on the ocean this summer, yep. I'm thinking, anyways, we won't talk about that right now. These are the things we're learning and gonna figure out as we go, all these dreams, because this is a huge dream restored. So I raced for a couple years before we bought our boat last year. So
yeah, and then I got to join the racing crew for 1 year. They let me come on.
I loved it. I just
lots of fun.
There's just nothing like really like the thrill of racing down the lake. So
yeah, so much fun.
Can't wait to do that again this year.
Yeah, exactly. So thought we would probably give a bit of a recap over our past year, just kind of some of our highlights from the things that we did.
It would have been nice if we'd actually been capturing all of those things we did like through last year, but we didn't. So, but it's not really too late to start. That's kind of what we're saying right now. So we're a year in and we're really new at this. So
really new.
Like if you're a seasoned sailor, you're going to be like,
or a seasoned YouTuber.
Or a seasoned YouTuber. That was awkward. That's okay with us because we're really just here to, see what happens and chase the adventure.
Yeah.
And maybe share a little bit of how silly and how fun it can be to find that dream again, to really, go back in. I think that's something that's really connected us a lot. Yeah. And, our kids are, we're empty nesters now, kind of re-dipping back into those dreams that we had way before that we kind of gave up and going at them. And I think that's what this last year really just sparked in us, a like passion for something that we were like, wow, that was like inside me that whole time.
Yeah.
How awesome that we get to do this. And I see, especially for you, knowing that dream like was there before, like I know it's mine too, but it's like when we were young and just seeing you having to give that up and having seen this last year, I think that's really, really awesome. So this last year, what was it like? Well,
it was awesome.
We went to sailing school for our first basics cruising with Danny at Smooth Sailing Academy in Kelowna.
He's fantastic.
And we did 4 full days out there on the lake before. So we bought the boat and then we went to sailing school because we were like nervous about a few things.
Our boat was on shore, like it was dry docked when we bought it.
Yeah. So we went, did some experience, got some experience with anchoring and docking and all those things because if you've never experienced this before, but the biggest fear of new sailors, maybe I'm going to say new sailors. Someday we're not going to be afraid of this, but is actually docking, coming in and out of the docks. So anyways, that was something we got to experience in our first year.
And that was, it was a lot of interesting times sometimes coming in and out. Don't
talk about the first time I went out.
Where we almost took out every boat along the way. But good thing we had, people up in the front pushing off from other boats. We didn't damage anything.
It was gentle pushes.
Gentle pushes.
Yeah, there was that. I'm so nervous about this year again.
I know. So
okay. Anyway, my favorite day of the whole year, I mean, I guess, I don't know, favorite day, but it was the most beautiful day was actually because our boat, is named Sea Raven, and she was up on the dry dock, as Ben mentioned, and they lifted like on these big, and crane day it's called, and they hoist up the boat way up in the air, and it just flies through the air, and it just lands in the water for the first time. It's just so majestic. Anyway, Sea Raven got to fly, and now she swims. Swims? She still flies.
She floats.
She floats. Doesn't sink.
Yeah, she does sink. That's good.
Yeah, we're going to be awkward at moments.
Yeah, we're going to have awkward moments. So one of the things we really enjoyed over the past year, also once we got her in, was racing her, taking her out. And we had no idea really what we did. I said I grew up sailing. Cruising and racing are two different things.
And it was 30 years apart.
And it was 30 years apart. So I don't remember even how much I really knew. Sorry, Dad. But coming in, we had no clue really what we were doing. Okay, yeah, we still don't know what we're doing. And so I remember our first races, we were just flailing around like fish out of water. I don't know. We were It wasn't pretty at the beginning.
You know, we it wasn't, but we actually, I think, surprised ourselves and some other racers at the ability to, you know, learn each race and pick up like the skills that we
Yeah,
needed. And I got a coach because I did lady sailing. I got
you
a
did.
coach, Bill, and he was really, you know, teaching us a lot. Lady sailing was a great way to gain that confidence to skipper and to,
Mhm.
you know, take the boat out. And we found some really great crew.
Yeah.
My brother and sister-in-law and Mick and Russell decided to risk their lives with us weekly.
Yeah.
And then,
And the other really cool thing I found about racing and just our yacht club is how helpful everybody is on the
can't,
around in our yacht club. We got so much help because everybody's like, obviously saw we had no idea what we were doing, and so they would come and help us and give us tips. And I remember often we would come ashore, you know, after a race, and one of the more experienced crews would say, "Hey, I noticed you guys were trying to do this," and would give us pointers on how we can improve and things like that. It's just been a fantastic year of just being part of that
mm-hmm.
community as well. They're so supportive and so excellent to us.
Yeah, that was a great experience. Can't wait to connect with everybody again in this new
Mm-hmm.
season coming up. Um,
Yeah.
You know, there was one day I think we should probably talk about a little bit
Yeah.
more
Oh,
in
yeah.
depth. So in our first year, so we did one regatta, and it's
Our puppy just pushed the thing.
um, yeah, we were in a regatta, and it was a great experience. There's lots of races in the regatta, and then there was this one uh, race, maybe the third race in, when the winds really kicked up, and it surprised majority of the people that were out there racing. I don't remember, was there 23 boats out or something like that?
Yeah, it was in the mid
it
20s.
was
Yep.
it was a lot. So everybody was scrambling to, you know, the race ends pretty much quickly when pretty quick when these winds kick up. I don't remember if they're in the 70 plus kilometer
No,
hour
no,
winds.
no. It was almost 100
There are
kilometers.
people that recorded close to 100-kilometer-hour winds at the peak of these winds in this storm.
Yeah.
So we're talking, and it's so sudden up on the lake because we've got this lake that kind of, the hills are all up. You know, the mountains go up from the lake, and then they can come over pretty quick. So and so it was Ben and I and our mentor Pamela, who luckily was on board with us. But there was there were some mistakes. I mean, that we made initially, and this was with the setup of our spinnaker. But anyways, we got the spinnaker wrapped in the furler, and there was sails that couldn't come in, and so the head sail got shredded like spaghetti, and we were bouncing so up and down in the waves that our motor bracket
For our outboard.
for our outboard motor, which we obviously put on in order to try and get into the marina as quickly as possible, but the bracket was of poor quality, which is something we had planned on replacing but hadn't got to yet.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is a lesson learned as well.
Yep.
It bent down and damaged our rudder, which then made it.
Well, it caught on the rudder, so now we couldn't steer.
Right. So the point, so at this point, we had to call for help for us to be rescued off the boat, but we knew that we didn't want Sea Raven to hit the shore, so we dropped anchor. And there was that was actually some pretty quick maneuvering, and we got that anchor because the anchor was not attached to the chain because we had it down because we had the spinnaker up. So we did a lot of learning through that, and we were able to drop anchor and get safe to shore, and then let Sea Raven ride out the storm out in at anchor until
Everything calmed down.
Yeah, and then we got towed in and examined the damage, which we've had to now spend several months. Well, actually, now we're still working on some repairs, which you'll see in upcoming videos.
Yep.
The last of the repairs we're making for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that kind of was a little bit of a moment where you realize that that's what's that saying that sailors say, that there are two different sailors, those that fear the wind and those that are yet to fear the wind.
We fear the wind.
You know, it was a really good learning experience, but there was a lot of repairs we had to do the boat due to that storm.
Yeah, lots of repairs, but yeah, it was scary. Parts of it, though, a lot of adrenaline, and glad the boat made it through mostly. I mean,
and I am so glad Pamela was with us because she had like knowledge that we wouldn't have had, and we, you know, she was coaching us through. You know, I went into a little bit of a shock state, I'd say, like just like following commands.
Yeah, Pam was amazing on that. She has a lot of experience, which was really good. She was able to help us navigate all of that. Yeah.
I think one of the things this YouTube channel is going to be really about is helping you see those the experiences of what it's like to have a boat, and you know, us following our dream and how that works as a couple.
Yeah, just figuring things out as we go along, figuring out
that's it,
all sorts of stuff.
So, hey, I hope you'll follow. See you later.